Ah! Gosh dang it. Ah, Katie, stop. It's so annoying.
Hey Nate, how's it going?
Good. Am I interrupting something?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, okay. We were going to do a film review, right? Today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joe, you ready for the film review? Joe?
Joe?
Oh my gosh.
Joe, wait, there's a chair! Hey guys, how's it going?
Going well, but you, Nate? Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see. Man, it feels nice to see you guys again, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, guess what? I brought some champagne.
Awesome. I love
Yay.
champagne. Have you popped the cork yet?
Well, I don't want it to overflow, if you know what I mean.
Make sure you have it all cooled.
I do. It fizzes and it tickles the nose.
Well, do you need help unwrapping that?
Oh, I think I need more than just one hand on this, if you know what I mean. You got the saucers and the cups to put it in, right?
No.
Okay, that one, I just don't. You know what? Now you're just. No.
Well, how about a sample?
No free sips.
Well, I'm pretty good at popping the cork if the vintage is right.
The Naked Kiss is a classy 60s film about a prostitute who quits the business and tries to escape the mistakes of her past. It's a heart-wrenching morality tale that holds a mirror to the audience, causing us to question whether we're upright citizens or judgmental hypocrites. It's also full of goofy, not-so-well-hidden sex jokes meant to make 12-year-old boys snicker.
Are you sure you don't want a bonbon, Grit?
I'd never heard about this movie until you had shown it to me, and I was a little baffled. It was really...
Oh, Charlie. Charlie.
A quick backstory on Samuel Fuller. He is well known as a pulp novel writer. In this period of kind of the 50s and the 60s, he made kind of these pulpy movies. He made them quickly. He shot them really well for his style and everything. But they're kind of known as upscale trashy stories. But they're shot conventionally as real movies with real interesting themes. But they deal with a lot of this stuff that movies then were afraid to. So just brief background, that's Samuel Fuller in a nutshell. And he's quickly grown to be one of my favorite American film directors.
This is back in the days when married couples slept in two separate beds with a coffee table in the middle. Now, because of that, you weren't allowed to have any graphic content in the film. However, what are you gonna do when you make a film about prostitutes? You just have every single line of dialogue be an innuendo and have things that don't even make sense to be an innuendo be an innuendo.
I don't know. I really enjoy those bonbons.
Sugar, tell me, what do your mother and father call you?
They call me once a month, but everybody else calls me Marshmallow.
The interesting thing about this whole movie is that despite the fact that it's kind of, as you say, sort of schlocky, you could even call it trashy, though I wouldn't.
Sleazy.
Sleazy. It deals with that subject matter, but first of all, I think it has a very good message in the end. And second of all, I think that because they weren't allowed to really show anything, it actually helps the movie. Like, if they made this movie today, I feel like it would be obscene. Like,
Well, it would be more of like they would show everything. They wouldn't really use the dialogue to kind of like leave it to the imagination of the audience, really.
Right, and you wouldn't be left with that same uplifting message at the end. Instead, it would just kind of be a guilty pleasure movie that you watch and then you just feel sleazy after watching.
The message gets across much clearer, and it's not distracting by having a lot of sex and nudity and violence.
And this is the funny thing about the dialogue I want to say is that, yeah, there's a lot of moments where it's really schlocky. There's an innuendo there. But then there's like moments when it gets kind of serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think one of my favorite scenes is when Constance Towers, his character, is actually talking to her roommate after going to Candy's special place across the river.
You'll get compliments, clothes, cash. You'll meet men you live on, and men who live on you. And those are the only men you'll meet. And after a steady grind of making every John feel at home, you'll become a block of ice. And if you do happen to melt a little, you'll get slipped a tip behind Candy's back. You'll be every man's wife-in-law and no man's wife.
Do you think Samuel Fuller knew how corny the movie was?
As modern viewers, there's a lot of things that we see, and we're like, oh, that's really corny, oh, the 1960s.
Yeah.
But people watching this movie in the 60s, would they have thought the same thing? I don't know. I mean, it's
Well,
an
that's
honest
true,
question
actually,
I'm
yeah.
throwing out there. Would they have thought those innuendos were really, really corny? Like,
So a certain film came to my mind actually when I was watching this, and it reminded me of American Beauty back in the day when it came out. That movie tried to really push some boundaries. You look back on it today, it feels very dated in a lot of like how they were trying to reveal certain things about the characters, the neighbors next door, and they thought they were being really explicit back then. But today you kind of look at it, it's judged as dated. But back in the day, it really shocked the whole world. So yeah, I kind of feel like it might have had the same reaction from the audience. Like they were really shocked, but you look at today's standards, they're like, yeah, so what?
yeah.
Another reason I'm tending to think that Samuel Fuller knew what he was doing in this case is we were watching an interview with him where he's talking about how he hates staging scenes where it's just two characters talking.
I just hate a shot that shows a city or a street and nothing happens. I don't mind an establishing shot even of a mountain. I don't care. That's a beautiful shot. Snow, beautiful. If in that shot you pull back and there's a little lovely lady, and she says to her son, "Isn't this lovely? It's Switzerland." And he blows her head off. Yes. That's why I like a punch opening. That's what you do.
Samuel Fuller is afraid of losing the audience's attention, and he just wants to show you things that are going to keep you hooked. And part of that may be staging these conversations in this super exaggerated way, because there's nothing more boring than just seeing two people talking about this prostitution thing going on. So let's just have them throw in these huge innuendos. Let's have them, beating the crap out of each other.
Exactly, yeah,
during these
whatever
dialogue
gets you
scenes.
hooked, Exactly.
It holds the audience's attention, and for the 60s, I'm sure that hooked audiences back then, because
probably
they didn't see stuff like that very frequently.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of explains also why the interesting thing about the main character, Kelly, is she's got a lot of anger issues. And there's a lot of scenes where she does violent things. Now, it works within her character, but you can also kind of see that being Samuel Fuller's way of keeping the audience's interest, because she does not hold back from slapping people if she wants to.
Sit down. Let's talk business.
I guess that concludes negotiations.
One of the problems that does come up with this clash of tone, though, is because he does deal with some very dark themes in this movie. So on the one hand, you have these people joking around about sex in this not so subtle way. And then all of a sudden you have this scene.
And who likes it again, and why can be. Tell me why can't I fly without wings through the sky?
I'm going to keep asking you the same question until you tell me the truth. Why did you kill him?
He was molesting a child.
We've had 2 cases of ravaged children in our county. If by some freak they buy your story, it means the pressure will be off the real criminal. He'll be free to attack other children.
Because the movie is so goofy leading up to it, it does clash. And for a lot of people, I think that's kind of the turnoff, that how could it make light of that? But it doesn't make light of child molestation or anything like that.
I don't think it does at all. I
No.
think it takes it very seriously.
It takes it very seriously, but I think it's because the whole movie has been so lighthearted up till this point.
It
really
really
catches you off guard.
Yeah, it really throws you for a curve, and you really just don't know how to feel after that. It's like, okay, I was enjoying myself, entertaining story, and then
I would argue that it's actually a very serious movie all the way through.
Yeah.
I think some of the corniness is coming from the restrictions that they faced at the time and them having to kind of make up for that with innuendos. Some of the production values, not that great, which kind of adds to the corniness, but I don't think that's intentional at all. And there's certain scenes that are very dark, very adult, and also very effective. She's talking about her experiences and why she chose to leave the life of prostitution. And because it's dealing with, that particular type of sexual perversion, then it takes the next step into an even darker form of sexual perversion, and it makes sense that it would deal with that particular subject matter.
Yeah.
Because the entire point of the movie is about somebody moving from a life of sexual perversion to starting a new life after that. So I think it makes sense, and I think it works within the context of the movie, even if the execution might not be the best.
Nate!
Yes.
What did you think of The Naked Kiss? This is your first time viewing it.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't know how to receive it at first, just because it was comical, it felt funny at first, and then it just kind of got really dark all of a sudden, and it's like I really didn't know how to feel about it. I give it, major credit for being really gutsy back in its day to make that kind of a statement, because that kind of stuff was kind of going around and nobody wanted to talk about that. I feel, though, maybe if it had been shot, edited better, maybe if some of the dialogue was not as cheesy, especially towards the end, because they still use like the one-liners that they were using at the very beginning.
She never makes change.
It ruined for me a little bit, and I kind of feel like if Samuel Fuller had like fixed those areas, I think it would have been like classic. Although I give it major props, it stands out on its own as its own thing. And I like I said, I give credit for that.
I'd call this movie a powerful morality tale hidden inside a sleazy Walmart novel. Really powerful main character, really powerful message about overcoming sexual addiction and learning to live a life of independence. A little bit corny production value. If there was a director today who could do a classy remake of it, I would love to see it remade, but I don't think a director could do a classy remake of it today.
No, maybe Joe. Maybe Joe.
I don't mind the fact that it's dated with its colloquialisms and some of the corny lines. I don't mind that a lot of the characters are 50s and 60s caricatures. In the end, it has a great story, and it pulls it off in a really powerful way. I think it gets its message across, and it's very entertaining. Those things almost make it more memorable for me. If the film hadn't been as entertaining as it was, there's a good chance I probably would have forgotten this movie after the first time I watched it. But because it does deal with those very dark, serious themes in a very mature way, while at the same time keeping you interested and laughing along with some of this stuff, whether or not you're supposed to or not.
Right.
I think it's a very mature film. I think it's a movie that a lot of people should check out. Just if you want to see a film that's probably ahead of its time in some ways, but it's still stuck in the past of the restrictions of what they could and couldn't do with it. But if any film has earned the title of a progressive movie that's trying to deal with these themes in a way that makes people think about them more, I think this movie definitely earns that title.
But Joe, kind of making me uncomfortable. Joe,
check out these links for more videos down below. They're cool videos we made.
He can keep this up for a long time.
I'm not sure what happened. Did I say something to offend him?
No, he just does this sometimes.
Okay, so this